Hey, good morning everyone, Tractorman 44 here. Hey, how many of you guys have a furnace down in your basement that you go to take the filter out of it, it gets hung on a piece of sharp sheet metal or a couple of screw heads or something, you just can't get the filter out without destroying it. Well, I'm changing the furnace out for Buddy today. It's actually a horizontal hanging furnace in his basement, and it has no provisions for having a filter in it. And so what I'm going to do is, in the piece of sheet metal going onto the return air side of it, I'm going to go ahead and create a very simple return air slot for that filter to rest in. So if you hang in there a little bit, we got to go ahead and knock this guy out. Once we begin the initial layout, you've determined how much you have to add to compensate for different joints that you have to use. And go ahead and run it through your machines. You can see the fancy joints that we have here to attach the pieces of metal together. This happens to be the top and the bottom of the fitting that's going to house the filter. So now that you laid out the two sides, this one here is the back side that's going to rest against the furnace and come in from the opposite side. The filter is going to want to slide through this and bump into that. So now the problem is, with the mirror image of this one, what do you allow, what do you cut out in order to get you a filter slot? Okay, so what you want to do is go ahead and take your 1 inch double hem mark and mark 1.25 inches off of that, but bring it back just to under 3/4 of an inch and cut that. That's exactly what I've done here. I've moved it back 1 1/4 inches and came back about 5/8 of an inch. This double hem part right here would normally be the flange if there was not a filter slot going in. So that'll set off to the side, and now we just have to notch this and fold this back. We'll fold this back to give us a nice hem that will be a nice slick edge for the filter to slide against. Okay, here the whole thing is ready to be assembled. Now this is not assembled, so you can see it's all floppy and everything. If you notice, I do not have the Pittsburgh locks folded over. This will be the last fitting that's going to be installed on the project, and I always like to have the flexibility of installing it one piece at a time in a real tight spot. So at any rate, this is the way we're going to resolve that situation of not having a filter or access to a filter. If you look right here, this is going to be the flanges that's going to be up against the back of the furnace, because this is a horizontal, so it's actually going to be the bottom, which is now the back side of the furnace. But you're going to see it's going to leave about 1 1/16 inch slot, and that'll very easily accept like a 1 inch pleated filter right into the slot. So there's no sharp edges here to get anything caught on or anything like that. If you notice, I've got a little backrests or rails at the top and the bottom, so when you slide it in, the blower sucking air across it won't draw it into the blower assembly, or when the blower's off, it won't allow the filter to fall back into the open ductwork. So that's how we solve that issue right there. Now this is in a basement installation, so a little leakage around this is not that critical. Doesn't really matter in the least bit. It's not insulated. The original one is not insulated either, so it's just not that big of a deal. So it's ready now to go and actually install, get this project wrapped up. Now just bear in mind, this is just one of 1,000 different ways to install a filter, or to get a filter installed reasonably correctly in a return air on a residential or a light commercial furnace. It just takes a few extra minutes, to cut your slot, to measure accurately, and to get that fabricated. But in the long run, it makes for a much happy person that owns the house or owns the building. simply because it makes it so much simpler to change that filter. There's nothing worse than coming up and grab a hold of the filter after you shut the blower off and find that it's snagged on something inside, and you rip and tear the filter as you bring it out, and what that's doing, that's dislodging a good percentage of the dust and dirt, the lint and everything that filter's kept, that's caught, and it drops it right down into the bottom of the furnace. Put your new filter in, fire it right back up, and a portion of it just bypasses because it fell on the wrong side of it, goes right into your coil, blower assembly, and into your evaporator coil, or gets sucked right back up into the brand new filter you just changed out. So you're doing yourself a favor to take the few minutes that it takes on these installations to get a properly removable filter. Well, guys, thank you for hanging in there and watching along with me, while we made this little piece here. This is not the end of the story. Hopefully I'm going to get a little bit of footage installing, getting the finished product, where you can actually see the rewards of the work and everything that we've done in here this morning. But wait until you get to see what I traded for to this old buddy of mine in order to do this little project for him. I think you're going to like it, and there's probably going to be a whole new Tractor Man video coming on that. Key word in that is Tractor Man video. But I ain't going to spill the beans just yet. You guys just have to wait and see. So you know what? This is Tractor Man 44. I'm out of here, guys.